Hi everyone, it's the Crafty Missy here. Don't these bowls look pretty magical? Well, they are made out of magic dough. There's not actually magic in the dough, just flour, water, salt, and such stuff. And today we are going to make these bowls. Now, you don't have to make them in magical style. You can make your bowls in any style you want to. And this is also a great craft to make with kids. So let's get started. So here's what you will need to make the magic dough. Now you will need flour. This is just plain white flour. You will need finely ground salt. You will need some water and then some cooking oil. This one is rapeseed oil, but you can use any oil you happen to have. That's it pretty much for the dough, but you can add other ingredients like spices to give it a little bit of color and smell. You can add things like dried flower petals or something like that to give it a little bit of texture, whatever you want. And you can also add essential oils. Now I have a couple here that I'm going to be adding to my bowls. I'm going to be adding a couple of drops of eucalyptus and lavender. Now you have to be careful when using essential oils. Just make sure that the essential oils that you will use in these will not irritate skin. We do not need any fancy measuring systems for this, and there's no conversion or anything. All you need is a cup. Now, of course, the size of the cup is up to you. The bigger it is, the more dough you will get. This is just a plain basic cup, and we're going to be using this to measure our ingredients. The oil we're going to be measuring just with a tablespoon. And then of course have a bowl where you will put all the ingredients into. In this bowl I've now added 1 cup of flour and half a cup of salt. And I will be adding the wet ingredients now. I have half a cup of water and I have half a tablespoon of oil, and I've got a couple of drops of both eucalyptus and lavender essential oil here. Let's add them together. And then we'll mix. You will have to put your hands in here. That's the reason why I said that the essential oils need to be skin safe. If you need to, you can always add more flour or water depending on what your dough is like. This dough seems a little wet, maybe, I don't know yet, but it does seem a little wet, so I'm going to be putting my hands in and molding it a little bit. This is what a good dough looks like. It will not stick to anything and you can mold it. So that's that. Now this is half of the recipe. I will be posting both the full recipe and the recipe that I used in the description box, so check it out there. Here I've taken a small piece of the dough because I want to make small bowls. I took a small piece of the dough, I rolled it into a ball, and then I flattened it in my hands. And I'm flattening it even a little bit more still. Make sure you have flour underneath or it will stick. And one of these spatulas is really great to make sure that you can actually move it. Okay, so let's make it a little thinner. The thinness, the thickness, that's completely up to you. But something like a circle here. Then you will need a cup, or what I have here is this measuring cup that you will press in the middle and like that, remove. You might need to add a little bit of flour there or this might stick. And then you can shape this completely freehand by raising up these edges, or you can leave this there and start kind of lifting these edges up against this measuring cup, and that will help you to mold it. But in that case you need to have some flour there because it will stick. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this freehand. Make sure that your hands don't have too much flour when you do this. Okay, so I'm just lifting this up, trying to make this kind of a little flower or something like that. Remember, these are going to look handmade. They are handmade. You can spend a lot of time making these if you want to, or you can make them quickly. You can make them in any design you want to. Just something like that. And if you have a lot of flour underneath, not flour, a lot of dough underneath, you can just take a pair of scissors and just snap it off. So I'll keep molding this now and making a couple more, and then we'll bake them. Here we go. These are ready to go into the oven. I ended up making 3 very simple small bowls because that's what I actually need. Now I'll show you what I did with this one. Now I have this bowl. It's a glass bowl that has this sort of like an engraving of some roses on it. I placed this piece of dough on there and I used my rolling pin to really roll it on there so that it gets all of the engraving. Now, when I take this out of the oven, when it's done, it will have this beautiful rose engraving on the inside of it. If you do something like this, make sure that the bowl that you use is oven safe, of course. I mean, I know I can put this in the oven, but I couldn't do it if it was plastic. Now, we're going to bake these for 1 to 2 hours. It really depends on the size of your object. Now this is going to be taking quite a long time, I know that, and these are also quite thick, so they will take maybe more than an hour, I think. But the temperature is going to be 125 degrees Celsius or 257-ish of Fahrenheit. And I know that's a low temperature, but we don't really want to brown them. We just want to dry them basically. And when they are dry, they are hard, and then you can paint them. If you don't want to use the oven, you can leave them just like this to dry. Just know that it will take quite a long time for them to dry, especially if they are any bigger than these, for example. And even these will take some time to dry out of the oven. So I would say maybe 2-3 days even for them to dry. So when you take your bowls out of the oven, let them completely cool, and you will see that they have hardened. And then it's the fun part, painting them and decorating them. Now I want my bowls now to look very magical. So I'm going to be using these art metal paints, which are awesome, by the way. I highly recommend these if you can find them. And I'm also going to be adding some Inca Gold to mine. Now Inca Gold, it's like a paste, like a metal paste. And I've got 2 colors of it, this copper and this bright gold. I tend to apply this with my finger, but you can use anything you like. You can also add some glitter, you can use metallic powders, whatever you want. But if you use anything like Inca Gold or glitter, metallic paints, or those metallic powders, then it's a good thing. And actually, in every case, it's a good thing to use this acrylic lacquer or some kind of fixative on your bowls, because if you don't, then whatever you put in your bowls might get stained by the paints that you use on them. So this kind of thing is highly recommended, at least 2 to 3 coatings of this. Before we start working on the biggest bowl that I made, let's check these 3 small ones, which I've already finished. So I painted them with the metal acrylic paints, and I added some Inca Gold. Then I put in velvet ribbons around them, also here. And then I put some metal charms, like this one has some moons and roses. And then this one has gemstone chips glued onto it. This one has amethyst, sunstone, peridot and citrine. And I really like how they came out. But you might remember this one. This is completely unfinished. I haven't done anything to this. So I put this dough on top of a glass bowl with some rose engravings, and I was hoping to get the engravings into my bowl. Now I did get some of it, but not as much as I would have hoped for. But I figured out why. My bottom part here is far too thick, and I didn't roll it hard enough with the rolling pin against the bowl, so that's it. Also, this part is darker because it was against the glass, and this part here you can see is almost white, but that's normal. This is still hard and I can still work on this. So what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to be painting it with this art metal paint, and I'm going to be sure to get the paint in every single crevice here. And here is my bowl now finished. I wanted to get some inspiration from the night sky, so that's why I chose these colors. And I started out by painting my bowl with this beautiful art metal blue paint. I just absolutely love this blue. It's a beautiful one. And then I wanted some patina into it, so I used this Perfect Pearls blue patina powder. These are awesome powders, by the way, so if you can find them, go for it. And then you can see the bright gold here. I used this Inca gold in very, very bright gold. And then I put in some glass crystals here, and I took a paintbrush, and with that paintbrush I put a little bit more Inca gold on top of each and every one to kind of remind me of stars. So the other side of this bowl is just blue, so there's really nothing in there. I'm really happy with how this came out because I wanted this magical look for it. But remember, this is a great project because you can make it look anything you want. You don't have to do these deep colors that I did. You can do pastel colors, you can do very simple colors, you can do whatever you want. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, please leave them for me and I will answer. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.